but I was watching one by Brian Gerrish, who lives in England, and who started a little movement up to fight and expose a massive organization called Common Purpose. And as I was watching his video, he was going through the fact that this organization was already so enormous and had basically got members in the military, at the top of the military, members in tough police departments, city councils. It was all through Britain. And what struck me was how quickly these things spread because they're so well funded and organized. And I'm going to go into this after the following break, because it's very interesting what I was thinking about. Hi folks, I am Alan Watt. We're cutting to the Matrix, discussing a video I watched the weekend made by Brian Gerrish of England, who is an ex-submarine hunter. He was in some kind of frigate that chased the submarines during the Cold War. And he is now campaigning and talking in groups around the country to try and get people interested in combating an organization that has taken off like wildfire, and yet it's so secretive as to its intentions, its motives, and so on. But he goes through the funding that this organization gets and the techniques they use, and the techniques really are very similar, if not the same, as that of the Chatham House. And Chatham House is the head for the Royal Institute of International Affairs, or for International Affairs, where they're allowed to, sometimes they're told what they can tell the public, but they're also told not to mention to the public who said what and what kind of discussion that takes place within the House. I know in the old books of Chatham House, and I have some of them, they used to print the members who attended, and you can often tie in who said what by where they came from. And this Common Purpose, as I say, gets money from the CFR and different big organizations already. And because it seems to have got such leeway to penetrate into even local government and major government, the federal governments, it has to be related, I think, in some way with intelligence service at the top. Just as the RIIA is also integrated with the intelligence service. In fact, Chatham House was the headquarters during World War II for the British and American OSS. But when I was watching the video, apart from all the discoveries this particular man had found about the organization and its networking and its incredible funding, was the time the public ever find out about anything that's really important, that's going to affect their lives, especially things which are outside of democracy. It's always, we've been run over already. It's like a stampede that's coming your way, and you're in the desert, and you see the sandstorm coming, and so on. And by the time that you even know it's what's happening, it's disappearing over the other horizon. And that's how most of these things work. They're so incredibly secretive. They're so heavily financed into existence that they almost can't lose. And part of the purpose of Common Purpose, it seems, is to go for the youth in schools. They recruit teachers as well, who then recruit the children. And that reminded me right off the bat of the techniques used by the Cecil Rhodes Foundation, and eventually the Lord Milner group that amalgamated with it. They called the youngsters who were being trained the kindergarten, Milner's kindergarten. So they're going to create new future leaders in all aspects of society. That seems to be their role. And as I say, it's outside of any democratic control. In fact, it's penetrated all of the democratic control. And I'm not surprised, because we're seeing in a new world order. That's what's coming in. We're living through it. And Gorbachev and others have discussed this many, many times, like this coming transitional century. This is the century of change. It means it's a century to bring in this global society, and not just a society where we can continue as we had before, being good consumers and producers and so on, but a controlled society, right down to population control, as in partnership with the old Soviet system. In fact, they brought many of the Soviet experts on board to amalgamate the two systems. And again, Professor Carol Quigley talks about that, and so did Norman Dodd of the Rees Commission. So that's what we're living through today. It's to be a heavily controlled society, which, of course, must portray itself as something completely different. Whenever anything is sold to the public in politics or in a political fashion, you'll never get the truth.